The mysterious underwater eruption is now being called a name, and I'm not sure that that name is really right. They named it Titan Ridge Volcano. We all remember the Titan submersible disaster, but that's at least what the name is for now. They say it's still provisional, but the latest reporting says that majestic underwater volcano is now active across about 5 kilometers. That's 3.1 miles underneath the ocean of Papua New Guinea's Bismarck Sea. And it has been compared to how the eruption was unfolding until it was developing into that catastrophic Tonga eruption. So that's why everyone's looking at that thing, right? So it has now been photographed, not only with the satellite images that we have seen, where we have seen that ash plume coming out of the water, but boats and fishermen have sent out videos and images. Of course, still we have new images from space, but the authorities are warning people that are on the ocean, how you might call them seafarers, about ash, pumice, unpredictable swells, turbulent currents because of that volcano, and possible local tsunami activity. I mean, if the tsunami remains local, should there be one, that's a good thing, because Tonga, I mean, you might remember, there's a few pictures in the background. This thing was massive, massive, massive. But the key detail about this underwater volcano is not just the steam visible from space anymore. We have fishermen that have reported smoke coming out of the sea. That alone sounds really crazy. And they report thunder-like sounds. But something else that's really strange. Before I tell you, please guys, do me a favor, give me a like on this channel and a hype. It doesn't cost you anything, guys, but it helps my channel and my work. So thank you for that. And listen to this. I said, we're having turbulent currents and smoke coming out of the sea, mysterious rumbling sounds. That is scary if you're on the water, but also metallic burning smell, and dead fish, cooked fish probably, and a reef-like area that right now is behaving, they say, like a boiling spring in the middle of the ocean. So there's a volcano observatory in Rabaul, and their spokesperson said the eruption looks more energetic than typical undersea activity. That's the deal with Titan here. And we could see a cone building underwater, more lava's coming out. It builds these cones, these volcanic cones, if it's overlapping. And then that is a risk because these cones can collapse. And if anything collapses underwater, with underwater volcanoes, a landslide, a cone collapse, that can trigger a tsunami. And the bigger that cone gets, the higher the tsunami, if there should be one, right? So we're also having this volcanic rocks, brimstone, or how you want to call it, pumice, reaching the surface. And that gives us an important clue, because that suggests the vent may be now at or very near to the surface. So that is crazy. Before that eruption, there were earthquakes in the area, including seismic events on March 31st, on April 25th, and a swarm of 6 events on May 8th, which likely, very likely marked the start of that eruption. And then a magnitude 5.4 earthquake was then recorded near the site on Monday, when the eruption was already happening. So that could indicate that something more is happening, something stronger, because usually once an eruption starts, the earthquakes slow down. So scientifically, this looks more like a fissure ridge style submarine eruption than like a single classic island volcano cone, right? That is building one little island and then it's building up the cone and it's forming the island. The Smithsonian GVP lists the Central Bismarck Sea source as a submarine fissure vent, right now. We all remember fissure eruptions. We've seen lots of them in Iceland recently. By the way, Iceland ground is still swelling, magma chambers filling. We could see the next fissure eruption in Svartsengi at any time. But submarine fissure, vent, cluster, something like that in a rift zone setting that is already there. The seafloor is not flat, so don't imagine like that. And it is near the junction of a transform fault and an area of oblique seafloor spreading. So if the seafloor is spreading, it's being torn apart, the surface gets thinner, and that makes way for magma to come to the surface, right? So could it become Tonga-style? That is what we're all afraid of. It is possible to use Tonga as the warning comparison, but please, guys, not as a prediction. Don't do that. Right now, I would suggest that the better wording that we should use is, it's not Tonga yet, but it has the dangerous ingredients that made Tonga so unpredictable. What are these ingredients? That is so important. I'll list them for you. Shallow seawater interaction. We've got the ash clouds. We see the pumice. We see explosions, earthquakes, and possible local tsunami waves. So experts have said about this eruption that small local tsunamis could happen if the explosive intensity is rising. But the eruption, that's the good thing, is at least 100 kilometers, 62 miles from the nearest land, and in water that is about 500 to 800 meters deep. That is 1,640 to 2,625 feet. Hopefully it's not going to be too bad, but we thought that about Tonga as well. If that gets bigger, even if you're 62 miles from the next island, that can be bad. So definitely this thing needs to be surveilled. And what we need to find out in the next few days, if it is a fissure eruption, how long is that fissure? I mean, now they can see signs over like 3.1 miles. So are we dealing with a fissure that long? Or what is happening, right? Is Titan Ridge turning into a Tonga-style eruption? We cannot say anything for sure yet. It's watch and learn. But for me, what is tearing open? If it is a fissure eruption, is it growing? Because we see in Iceland, it starts slower, and then over the time of a few hours, they start growing, and then usually they start dying down. But that magnitude 5.4 earthquake doesn't fit the picture. So is it actually still getting larger? That is what we want to do, what we want to know. And that is very, very important. We already know this doesn't look like a simple volcano. The eruption is not fully understood yet. Plumbing system of the volcano is still active. We see that. The smell, metal burning. What is it, right? Dead fish. Area looks like a boiling spring. That is exactly the eyewitness detail that makes this more than a normal deep ocean eruption. This is evidence, right? It's reaching the surface. And that is the critical change. If an eruption stays deep, the ocean pressure can suppress much of the explosion should there one happen. But if the vent is building upwards and it's close to the surface or even out of the surface, if a cone grows close to the surface, the seawater pressure drops. And then magma and seawater can interact violently. They do that if they meet each other, right? That is when these steam explosions become easier. That's when the ash can rise higher then. And that is when sudden local waves become possible. That's why Tonga keeps coming up all the time, right? Tonga showed the world that underwater volcanoes do not behave like normal earthquake tsunami sources. These underwater volcanoes are tsunami sources, right? A normal earthquake tsunami usually needs like a big section of the seafloor to suddenly move, usually lift up, to displace the water. A volcanic tsunami can come from explosions, underwater collapses / landslides, right? These cone collapses, or pyroclastic material that is hitting water, or even pressure waves that are coming through the atmosphere because of these volcanic blasts. So did you know that? That is also crazy, right? This is what made Tonga so dangerous and so hard to predict. And again, it's not another Tonga right now, but I'll watch it for you guys. But watch what else is happening. We had a 5.2 only that brought buildings down in China. Really, really crazy images. I'll have that here in the end screen and something else for you. So stay safe, be curious. I'm here for you. Thanks for liking and hyping. I'll see you.